All right, it's called to order the Town Center Advisory Board for August 15th, 2024. We have roll call.
Committee member Stephenson,
Present.
committee member Leamy.
Here. Chair.
Well, do I call you chair at the first one when you haven't been,
Pardon?
do you still get called chair at the first one?
Yes.
even
I
Yes.
think I'm just
Okay,
chair
sorry,
until I
I
hand it
apologize.
off.
I apologize.
That's right.
Chair Leamy,
Here.
committee member Castillo White,
Here.
committee member Andrews,
Here.
committee member Knight,
I'm present.
Here he is.
committee member Rizzo,
Here.
committee member Kester,
He's excused.
committee member Hill,
Yes.
committee member Prickett,
Here.
vice chair Allen.
Here.
Okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll lead us. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So why don't we go around and introduce for people that don't know who we are?
No. That way?
You get to start.
Hi, I'm Victoria Rizzo. I've lived here for 44 years, and I'm on a variety of committees.
I'm Jim Hill. I was voluntold to join this committee by Victoria, so I appreciate her nomination. I'm also on the Parks Committee. Thank you.
Tanny Stephenson, I've lived here 55 years-ish. And I'm on the Planning Commission, and I was on the original committee.
Zach Andrews, I've been here since 2020, and I'm on the Parks Advisory Committee, the Planning Commission, and this.
Okay, I'm John Lamy. I've lived here most of my life, all my life, in this area. And I'm on the planning and on this committee.
I'm Carol Allen. I've lived here for 20 years. I'm on, Parks, PSAC, there's another one, and this one.
Hi, Diane Castillo White. I've lived here approximately 32 years. I got the privilege to know Sam Cox and Glenn Otto, and went to many interesting council meetings for decades, and been a lot of fun. I'm on CAC also in the Landmarks Commission, which is nice because I was on the board for Troutdale Historical Society for a number of years, took a break for the year, still did the Barnyard Concert, and then probably do that again next year, but I really appreciate the history here in Troutdale, and that's about it.
Do you, are the committee member
Pardon?
online?
Oh, Shirley?
Hi, I'm Shirley. I'm on the Planning Commission. I've lived here approximately 43 years. Been involved in other aspects of the city, but I like the Planning Commission the best, and this committee right now. I haven't been on this one long enough, but I do like it. So, thank you.
And Will.
Hello, I'm Will Knight. Let's see, Troutdale since '01. I'm also on the CAC, and reason I'm out there tonight in person is because I got exposed to a confirmed case of COVID yesterday, so I'm trying to do the right thing and quarantine for a couple of days. So I'll be doing it via Zoom with you guys tonight.
All righty. Next item is adoption of the meetings from, actually, we have a meeting May is not the right one, so is it?
It's been a long
Do we have
time.
a meeting? Okay, so it is May minutes, I'm thinking. Okay, so the May minutes. Anybody have any changes? A motion?
This is Zach. I motion that we accepts the May 16 to 2024 meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One change we need to make to the agenda tonight is number 6. It's not commissioners, it's board member,
It is board members.
yes, so,
And then one additional change, we need to vote for chair.
change that.
Yeah. Perfect.
The next item is to elect,
Yeah.
chair for this committee. That's Diane.
This is Diane Castillo-White, and I'd like to nominate John Leamy as chair.
I was thinking nominate somebody else.
Annie second.
Kenny second.
I believe it's a roll call.
Okay.
Sorry, can you repeat
call.
who moved and what did you move for?
Chair, John Leamy. Because he's so nice and knowledgeable about Troutdale.
Okay, so that was moved.
I think you have to close nominations. Right? I think you have to close nominations.
If that's the
No more
only.
nominations.
that's the
If there's
only
any
person.
other nominations, if not, you have to
Any
close them.
more nominations? Okay, I'll close the nomination. Roll call?
Was there a second on the?
It was.
Yes.
Kenny.
There was a
Okay.
second.
Okay, yes. Committee member Stephenson,
Aye.
Chair Leamy,
Aye.
committee member Castillo-White,
Aye.
Committee member Andrews,
Aye.
committee member Knight,
Aye.
committee member Rizzo,
Aye.
committee member Hill,
Aye.
committee member Prickett,
She must,
committee
Oh,
member,
aye. Aye. Sorry.
vice chair Allen.
Aye.
and then we need to nominate a new vice chair. Or the same one.
Mr. Chair, I would nominate Carol Allen for vice chair.
I second.
Any more nominations? Okay, we close nomination
They don't have to form.
and roll call.
Committee member Stephenson,
Aye.
Chair Leamy,
Aye.
committee member Castillo-White,
Aye.
committee member Andrews,
Aye.
committee member Knight,
Aye.
committee member Rizzo,
Aye.
committee member Hill,
Aye.
committee member Prickett,
Aye.
vice chair Allen.
Aye.
Okay. So do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Okay. All right,
Actually, this is Zach. I do have one comment.
okay,
I just wanted to bring forth again the discussion, or the idea of a discussion that was kind of broached previously on maybe refining and working as a possible work session, or otherwise maybe some of the design standards for town center vicinities, the areas of opportunity that we're going to be continuing to tailor to the characteristics of Troutdale and what it's going to be known for. So I think it's would be a good idea for us to kind of maybe put our heads together a little bit more and refine what that looks like going forward. So I'd like to put that on a future agenda item if possible.
So would that be an ad hoc? I'm just guessing. Or would this group do it and then it goes, where would it go, to landmarks?
I think that council would have to
Task it.
task it to this committee or an ad hoc committee.
Okay.
So we would have to ask them to do that.
Great.
I say tentatively, so
Sure.
I'm looking around for, is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, great.
And we're applying for a Metro grant here within the next month. And this is,
I didn't say anything.
that grant would then allow us the opportunity to kind of move forward with some additional design standards for the Halsey corridor and downtown, the areas of opportunity.
Great.
That's what we're targeting for.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, then moving on, I turn it over to Marley or Erica.
Erica's gonna
Erica.
Okay, I'll kick us off. So I know it's been a couple of months. We met in May and Wood Partners was here during that time. And they just wanted to have a conversation with the committee about their previous proposal and kind of hear from TCAB members what you liked, what you didn't like in that proposal. And tonight's discussion is next steps. What would the next steps look like? If this committee wants to, make a recommendation to the Urban Renewal Board in regards to next steps. And kind of with that little brief summary, I'm gonna kick it over to our city manager, Ray Young.
Thanks, Erica, and I'm gonna go steal that boundary mic right there, so Zach, make sure you're talking to that one.
Copy that.
I'll give it back. We are working on getting another one of those to improve the communication in here. So hopefully this is working. Shirley, nod your head. Yeah, thanks. Get somebody to give me a reaction there. All right, good, it's working. Yeah, as Erica alluded to right there, the Urban Renewal Board agrees it's time to send out another RFQ to get some more developers, and your opportunity is to review the last RFQ, make any recommended changes you want, and then get it off to council so that they can approve it, and off it goes out into the world again to try to get a developer. And the comments I wanted to make tonight before we start, and I'm gonna leave you to your business actually, and going through it all, aren't directly on the RFQ, because if you look at the RFQ, my thoughts are there's not a lot of big changes in it. Some updating that probably needs to be done in it and reviewing it. But a number of the comments I want to make tonight have to do with overall, as you go through this process of looking at developers and looking at the URA, just certain things to keep in mind, and as you go through this process for the development. We need first, I think I want to comment, we first need to remember where we are today. We are 18 years after the voters approved the URA. Paul Thalhofer was the mayor back then, and his pink Cadillac long gone. This was quite a long time ago when it was approved. And it's not 2006 any longer. The world has changed, the economy has changed, the area has changed, the needs of the area has changed. And so don't feel too bound, because there's not really any legal bound to you to have to do what we thought we were going to do back in 2006. That's not required of you when we get there. And I went back and I looked at what did we talk about back in 2006. So I found the voters pamphlet and the explanation and all the statements from everybody. And it's interesting to read what we talked about so long ago. It's just interesting that things have changed. They talked about that they were gonna they told the citizens, we're gonna blow a hole through the mall. Well, we have worked for 7, 8 years, 9 years really hard with time equities. And honestly, they have given us the proverbial legal middle finger and said, don't you dare ever talk to us again about it. We're not gonna do it. Pretty much is what they told us. So that's what we told the citizens back then. We talked about, hey, we'll do a pedestrian bridge, over the railroad tracks. Well, we've learned since then that to do so, the rise and the run, because you have to go over 2 acres of railroad property, probably a $20 million bridge to have to do that. Now, if we got a parking garage, which is $10 million, maybe it would be a shorter rise and run, but that's not necessarily a realistic goal. We did promise them a waterfront park and trail back then. And I'm happy to tell you that we put out for bids. This is more a news item on the side here. We put out for bids in June. We got 6 bids in July. All of them were at least $500,000 to $2 million more than we hoped for. But the low bidder, Conf Construction in Vancouver, was at $4.2 million. I just signed and sent out the intent to accept that bid. And they have 7 days. The other bidders have a chance to complain if they want to, but I don't anticipate any because they're the lowest bidder and their bid was accurate. In terms of they didn't miss anything. And so we hope to be able to put the contract together by the end of the month. And then they're hoping, because I went over and met with Bob Kolf, who's the owner. It's been around for 42 years. They do a lot of large infrastructure projects over in Washington. They've worked for Evergreen School District, City of Ridgefield. They're doing a big project for City of Vancouver right now, rebuilding a bunch of roads. So they have a long history over there. And he says, yeah, we want to get going too in September, October when we have dry weather. They have a 10-month window in the contract to be able to complete the job. So if things go as planned, we should be able to have the park and trail done by June next year. And so that's really exciting. So there's something to remember, and that's one of the things, side note, back to topic of the RFQ, that's one of the things the update is being able to put that in there and announce that, and we can, as soon as the contract's done, by the time you go through your process, the council gets it, we can put in there the name that Conf Construction is beginning construction of the trail to be completed by, the end of that 10 months. So it's something that you can really put in there, is this really happening? Because, I remember our friend Terrell, who has been the thorn in our side for Union Pacific Railroad for now 16 years of dealing with this project. He recently, the last 2 years ago when we started this, doing it again, he says, are you really gonna build the trail this time? Because he did all the paperwork in 2008 when we didn't build the trail. And I keep trying to convince him we are, and now we're about ready to let a contract. So that needs to be probably prominent in the RFQ, that this is an amenity that's really gonna be cool. I'm sure most of you have probably seen the plans. If not, you can find them online. But it's gonna be a beautiful waterfront park and trail. Troutdale really doesn't have one. Glen Otto is a different kind of waterfront trail, a park. This one's gonna be one that people can wander from downtown. There'll be a beautiful walkway with Columbia River basalt accents, a viewing area for the river. There'll be 3 playground areas all the way along there. So it'll be a beautiful amenity for the property. That's something that we have to push in this RFQ that the developer will have. But in remembering, as you looked at all that stuff, the things we did promise back then was there'd be housing, commercial, and residential, generally on the property. But it's been so long, we also can't do as much as we wanted because, most URAs don't take this long. Do you know how much $7 million in 2006 is? That was the tax incremental financing we had. It's less than $4 million buying power today. So, gosh, if we'd known it was going to take this long to get someplace to finally do something, maybe we should ask for more, but it kind of limits what we can do. Luckily, we have plenty to finish the trail and get that all done and hopefully do some infrastructure improvements. So it has been a while in that regard. But as we go through this process, it's important to consider, as it is, 2024, I think this is really important to consider, is what kind of development are we looking for out there that will enhance downtown Troutdale? The Main Street downtown Troutdale, because Main Street downtown Troutdale is a very big draw for citizens and tourists, because that's where the visitor center is, that's where the bike hub's going to be, That's the nexus between the 40-mile loop going north along the trail and up around the Columbia River and the historic Columbia River Highway Trail. As the state is finishing their sections of it all the way out to Mosier, we should match right up with that as we finish some of our projects. So you gotta remember that what's gonna support downtown. And we've seen a lot of improvement, and most of you have seen improvement. You know, we talked about across the street, Wayfinder Brewery is now open, and it's a beautiful facility. We're still working really hard with the developer who's doing Old City Hall for for Waydays Brewery. Pete and Nikki are still excited about opening that, and we are too. We just gotta keep working with the developer to get it done. We have a new owner for Taste of Village downtown who had a pre-app with the office, and they're gonna wanna change that all. They're talking about a boutique hotel upstairs and adding some stuff downtown. Two wonderful guys, Ryan and two brothers are leasing the general store. Randy and David, thank you. I've met them, I should have remembered. Thank you, John. I think you were in there. I think I saw you in there one time. But they're not completely sure what they're gonna build it out to be, but they're starting to be open. They've got popcorn and ice cream and candies in there. And so they're excited about doing things in there. So it's nice to see things are hopping and moving downtown. And we got to remember what the development out there is going to enhance downtown. What I always like to tell people, gosh, I know a big chunk of the URA being residential, market rate residential, is not a bad thing because that puts 500 people within walking distance to downtown Troutdale. And that kind of foot traffic can really help a downtown stay healthy, vibrantly, especially through the winter months when the tourism into the gorge isn't quite as much. The second thing to consider is, what is the market currently supporting? Because whatever we ask for and whatever we get back from developers for that area, they have to know that they're gonna find people who want to invest $50 to $100 million in the development to get their money back, and what's going to be doable in the market. So we got to remember, what is the market telling us? And as we know, housing is going to be the focus for Oregon for the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, that's something that everybody's pushing on housing, and the state is doing everything it can, almost, to make it easier to do residential and do housing. So that's going to be a big push for a lot of years. The other thing to consider is, what kind of property do we have out there? We have to remember that it's bordered on the north by a freeway. It's bordered on the west by I hope to hear me, New York, a dying outlet mall. And it's bordered on the south by a railroad track that goes by about 6 or 7 times a day. So those are restrictions. And finally, of course, we have not the optimal access to it because we do have the right of way to go into the mall, cut off all the parking in front of Starbucks and Coach and go all the way around. So we're gonna have decent 40-foot wide right of way, maybe 50-foot right of way to do good access, but it's not gonna be the marquee access. Did anybody see what Junkie Yoshida had years ago? Remember he was gonna do a kind of a miniature, even though it's gonna be large, of the Barcelona fountain. He was gonna have a huge roundabout in the middle of that mall entrance, and you drive around this huge colored fountain with lights. This cool idea. But that's never going to happen. So we have to consider those are limitations on the property in terms of it. There are also advantages. Obviously, we talked about the waterfront park and trail that's going to be there. I really love the idea of a hotel on the north side of it, near the freeway, because the height limitations are 75 feet out there. I'm looking at Tanny; he's the expert on all that.
55 can go to 75.
Okay. You could 6-story. Hotel over there with the views looking down the Columbia River, the Sandy River, Boughton Bluff, and the gorge. I mean, they could have some beautiful views up there. And as I tell people, there are no, hotels in Troutdale, but there's really no nice high-end hotel between Skamania Lodge and the airport. There's just not. And right here at the gateway to the gorge, it would be nice to have something that can take advantage of all the amenities we have there. And of course, it would all be walking to downtown. So, considering all those options. Now, Abe Farkas has been involved with this project. He's a development consultant for a long time. I had him coming tonight until he told me the other day, oh, I forgot I have a grandchildren dinner tonight and I can't come. So he just wanted me to give you his input. So he sent me this email Tuesday, and he and I talked about it a while. He kind of agrees with me. We got to consider what the market conditions are, what the market wants to build these days, and what the market's willing to finance these days. He says the Confluence should be a very good site for market rate apartments, 1 or 2 hotels, and some neighborhood-oriented, convenient restaurants and retail. Interest rates are coming down, which is very helpful for some construction costs. you'll need to find an experienced and well-financed developer who can work within the constrained site access, for his comments. And I'll read that for your record if you want, but that's what Abe said. If you want to get him back, I'll make sure I plan it so when he doesn't have a grandchild thing going on. Those were his comments. So I talked about that, concur about that. The final consideration, and this isn't directly on development, but the other thing, only as a, not to rush this, because, well, rush it, we've been 18 years, who's rushing anything, right? Is that we need to remember that the city of Troutdale, which is a separate legal entity, the city of Troutdale is owed about $6.5 million from the Urban Renewal Agency, because we've been financing this operation for a long time. And as soon as this property gets sold and there's whatever income from the sale of the property, that income is going to go right back to the city general fund. I mean, this last $5 million we used to pay off the loan for the cleanup and the purchase of the rest of that property, that came right out of the general fund. So the general fund is going to get a big infusion of money when this property gets sold and developed. The second thing to consider in terms of long-term, that whatever the city doesn't get paid back from the property sale, we can get paid back up to that $7 million by tax incremental financing. The tax incremental financing is basically, we get to take all of the increased property taxes out there with the new development. Now, what we've gotten over the last 18 years is simply the 3% a year that the mall has grown every year. So it's up to about $150,000, $160,000 a year. But you get somebody to invest $50 to $100 million out there, that's going to probably triple annually. And that money's going to go, for at least for the years it takes to pay back the rest of that $7 million, to the city general fund, $500,000 every year. So those are considerations that, yes, we want a great development out there. We want to develop it that's going to enhance Troutdale. But we also have to remember that there's a lot of money sitting out there that the city could use in its general fund. And as some of you know, or maybe all of you know, we are going into the contract years for our fire and police, and neither one of our current partners, Gresham or Multnomah County, so far have been amenable to giving away their fire and police services, and they're looking to increase their services a lot to us, which comes out of the general fund. This isn't going to be immediate help for that, but the sooner we can get paid back some of this money, the much better, and better secure I think the citizens will feel in our general fund, and the chair of our budget committee will feel too, right? Yes. So anyway, just those all the as we go through the process, just considerations. The RFQ, I mean, doing a one that will hopefully attract somebody who has the financing and the wherewithal to do a $50, $100 million project out there is going to be really important. You're going to have to craft an RFQ that's going to attract what the year 2024 says we want to build. And that's what we're going to be looking for. So updating a few things are great. I don't want to take away any of your time, more time talking about it. Ray has a sense that he rambles sometimes. At least I've been told that. So any questions you have for me before I run off?
The tax increment financing, is there any way to, you're speaking to a parking structure costing approximately $10 million? Is there any way with the new development that would come in that somehow money can be used? Is there any creative ways for the money to be used for that? And here's what my issue is. We have the brewery that just opened. And a long time ago, I advocated and some others did to use this for parking, but it just didn't happen, parking in City Hall, whatever uses that we had. I said this at CAC, my daughter was trying to go to I don't want to call it the old general store. What is the name of it? I give it its proper name.
Troutdale Soda Bar.
Troutdale Soda Shop, pregnant with 4 kids, and circle, trying to get there. So parking is going to be a really, really huge issue as the other businesses open, the boutique, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to have a quandary because parking means business for the businesses so they can be open. So we have to for them to thrive, the parking needs to occur as well. And so I don't see, short of Dean Herford doing a multi-structured parking, not gonna happen there on the corner. Then that comes back to us so that we do have a thriving community and be able to access. Also, we have this survey out which we're talking about looking for needs for people to come visit, park, and then catch a bus and go raft or go do whatever. We have a limit right now in downtown Troutdale that's 2 hours for parking. I floated down the Sandy River tons of times, be it on my kayak, in a tube, whatever. It's not gonna be 2 hours. So there's gonna be a whole bunch of people, depending on where we choose to do this, possibly taking up space that we need to help our businesses thrive so that we have someplace to go, so tourists can visit those, so then later on we can, if I only have a budget of eating there once a month, they could keep it open for me and others so that we could do that as our budget allows. So I see this as something that we have to be forward thinking and just understand how much tourism are we gonna try to have right now as far as come here, park, go recreate out there, and we have your car here. Unless it was something like the outlet was willing to create a space that they would want to partner and do that, and then that might give them some extra business, and I see that they're multi-businesses now. I can't remember what business I saw going besides the amusement park thing. There's another one, so I see that they're being open to, it might not just be retail. So I see that they're kind of diversifying that. So in my head, while I was reading the RFQ again and trying to see vision and what we asked for even in the RFQ, let's not even go to the bond measure that I helped walk and try to see that vision occur, and I understand things change, but parking's huge, huge right now.
Number one, I'll say this for the public, for all rafters, for as far as I know, not one person in 40 years has gotten a ticket for parking more than 2 hours on Main Street, downtown Troutdale. The only people we complain about are downtown business owners who park on Main Street, their employees. That's been the deal for years. We won't enforce 2 hours as long as the employees don't take all the retail spots for people downtown. So rafters, go ahead, park downtown for 2 hours, it's okay.
But what I'm saying is then, doesn't that take away from somebody who does want to go into one of the businesses?
It does, to a certain extent.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So short of us having like a multi-structure, and then we, even if it's to pay, that they have to pay to be in it, I'm just saying that's gonna take away from, we already have a shortage right now. The other day at CAC, somebody I don't think was able to park here.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, your business is doing well, you guys are getting creative. Younger people are gonna be able to access the hill and stuff like that, but there's more businesses coming.
And that's what we're doing, a parking study right now, which is a major investment in time and money. So we're doing that right, it's in the process right now, which will give us an idea of what our parking issues are, what are some solutions we can look at. That $7 million that was now worth less than $4 million, that's not gonna be helpful at all for us. Because over the last 18 years, we have probably spent $3.5 million of it operating the URA because we've gotten so little TIF financing over the years. And we're gonna be using about 1.5 million of it as part of the trail construction, because we're getting about 2.7 from other government, Metro and Oregon State Parks. So we're gonna have to throw in about 1.5 plus of that. And right now, our goal for whatever we have left of that $7 million is one of the things they talk about that a city can do to help attract people to URA is we finance and pay for some of the infrastructure that you have to do. And so what my goal right now is, we're starting to design that roadway so that we do the roadway in and around, so they have a nice road into the site already ready to go for them. So that's what we're kind of looking for, paying the rest of it. Now, we've had some discussions, and Martin and I have dreamed about this. We've talked for a couple of years about trying to get the Oregon State Parks, or the state of Oregon, to partner with us to build a parking garage there, right next to the railroad tracks, because cars don't care about loud trains that go by.
That's in my notes, so we're talking about north of Lewis and Clark.
Right, and then it allows you to reduce that rise and run for a pedestrian bridge also across the tracks. Now, do I want to go to UP and do a crossing on one of their tracks after dealing with them on the underpass we're dealing with over on the trail? Probably not in my lifetime, but it becomes a great possibility. And I did speak with somebody at Oregon Solutions, which is a governor's office committee, and this guy, and I told him the story. Did I tell you the story back in June? I'm having a private conversation with Marley in front of you because I don't think I told her. I told him about this whole idea, and he says, oh yeah, Oregon Parks, they don't do infrastructure buildings like that at all. But talk to me, maybe we can talk to the transportation, maybe we can talk to some other people. So I gotta bug him again about finding a solution for that. It'd be great to partner with somebody because we have the gorge, and being able to create a place for shuttle people to park and a place for downtown people to park would be fabulous, and would, you know, solve a lot of problems. So that's still on the menu.
Okay, good, because
We're
that
not-
was in my notes, that's
Yeah.
one of the solutions I came up with was on that side, but also having an attendant.
Yeah.
Because there'll be vehicles that don't want to be succumb to robbery or theft or whatever, and also probably
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
Because that does fill up on hot days
Yeah.
as well for,
Let's get it built first.
okay.
Yeah, anyway, good suggestions. Any other questions before you get to your work at hand? Okay, cool, thanks for listening. It's an exciting opportunity. I am just really thrilled that finally the trail's gonna get built. It's been so long.
I was just gonna clarify a couple of things on the 7 million.
Oh, yeah,
You know, the city's reimbursed itself 150 to 200,000 a year to basically do the administrative functions for that. That's where a chunk of that money went.
and it takes a lot to administer it, quite frankly. All the things.
Well, not when it's dormant, it doesn't take that much.
Oh, yeah, you're right, but we have to remember that all through the years, the city staff,
I
me,
know.
Eric, paying the lawyer, Ed Trumke, you remember all the battles we've gone through with
Right, but
Chunky Yoshida and
Not
Yoshida
early
Group?
on,
Yeah.
not early on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
But-
but anyhow, the 7 million,
Yeah,
we've kind of soiled ourselves on this. We sold it to Yoshida, then we bought it back. And, right, and
Yeah.
then the parks, Metro told us that if the nature and neighborhood bond passed, the park would be funded. That didn't happen.
well, Metro's getting us 1.9.
It partially
Yeah.
happened, but the deal was that with Shirley Craddock, that it was going to be funded, it didn't get funded.
Yeah.
And then when we came time to clean it up finally, we ended up finding something that looked like Hanford underneath the Polari building that we had to deal with, and so that cost extra money, so I mean,
Well, the two big bugaboos I have about money out there, these are the kind of things we spend money on, you're talking about. But the city back in 2007, 2008, spent over $100,000 doing all the engineering designs and paying a license fee to Union Pacific Railroad. Union Pacific Railroad actually signed the construction and maintenance agreement for us to build the road under the bridge down there. We could have it all done and a real road down there, over $100,000, and then the city walked away from it and went down the toilet. The city spent $250,000, $300,000 to the mall owner previously 2 times for an easement to blow a hole through the mall. The city walked away from that $300,000 of URA money, just walked away. So now we're over $400,000 that was flushed down the toilet.
right, and there's been money flushed down the
Right,
toilet.
so that's part of where that
But
money's
that's
gone
one of the
over all
reasons
these
that you're
years.
here and your
Yeah.
predecessor is not.
I know, I still, but you can't cry over spilled milk, we have what we have, and we gotta move forward, and like I was talking about UP, any day, we're waiting for the C&M agreement to come from legal in Omaha. That's the last piece we need. All the engineering plans have been approved, they're okay with our design, it's just getting the agreement that says, go ahead. So,
And I
anyway.
guess all I'm trying to say
Yeah.
is there's a multitude of things,
Absolutely.
and like the general fund,
Yeah.
that was subsidized by the Amazon money.
Yes.
So really, it's Amazon's loan, Amazon's URA loan,
So Jeff Bezos owns the URA?
kind of.
Well, he's got enough money, he can develop it. Yeah, but we were blessed to have that Amazon money because we could put it in our back pocket and pay off that loan over the last 5 years.
Helps a lot.
It really helped a lot to be able to have that. But now the police and fire contracts are coming knocking and we have to worry about our general fund. So, anyway, anything else? Always call me, email me, find me, knock on my door, John, you know where I am.
I know where you are. Yeah, I've come to your office. I do have one question for you. So on page 4 here, it talks about creative partnering with the neighboring property owner.
Yeah, you could just leave that line out.
Yeah, I
I
was
mean,
gonna say,
Capstone and I worked really, really hard. I mean, we did a lot of things to try to get time equities in New York to talk to us, to pay attention to us. They literally the vice president in charge of this office of Capstone Partners was literally in New York City a month or two down the road, and I tried to arrange for him just to meet at their offices with them. They refused to meet him in person. Nope, I'll only do a phone call. He's gonna be, that's how, I'm sorry I used the phrase again, that's how middle finger time equity is toward us. So I think that's a good line, John. No, don't put anything in there to indicate that the mall owner's gonna work with you at all.
Right.
It's just really, people can say, well, did you try this or try this? Literally, I will tell you, we have tried everything we can think of. I've been back there, I've met with them. I thought I had a decent relationship with their vice president who kind of runs the retail operation, and he wouldn't talk to me anymore. He got tired of us knocking on his door and bugging him. They're just too big and they have too many irons in the fire.
And I'm not saying it would change, and I think you had a good thing going.
Yeah.
And Ami is a very interesting individual.
I didn't name him, but you did, yes.
Okay.
I like him
But
off the business
I will
stuff.
say this, and I don't know what you do about it, but when we sent Junkie and Matt Wan and Craig Ward back there, and then when we threatened to condemn their land, don't we all think that maybe that dug us a little bit of a hole as a city?
They mentioned that still, and Ami, when he was here, 2 years ago, he brought that up again. I mean, first impressions do matter, they tell you, and Time Equity's first impression was Matt Wand and Junkie Yoshida, and they don't forget. And I hope that they, with our relationship with them and the time I've spent trying to, get to know Ami and meet him when he's been in town and meeting Francis, the owner of the company, that we might develop a different relationship with them, but they're Fifth Avenue, literally, that's where their office is, Fifth Avenue, New York. And I think for them, and I think as I've told you before, I've told the URE board, I think for them, it's a business, it's a money's bottom line thing. They probably look at that mall and whatever their investors expected a return on that mall, the mall currently in its 60%, 70% full state is throwing off enough profit money for them that their pro formas are being met. And if their pro formas are being met, we don't really care. Why put any moment of our time and energy and thought patterns into thinking about redesigning that mall if it's throwing off the money that we want to? And they have 100 properties around the world. If you ever go to Time Equity's website and look at their properties, they got them all over the world. If this one's throwing off the money they want, it's a small mall in Troutdale, Oregon, and they're dealing with, the stuff they built. They built a monstrosity of a beautiful condo in Lower Manhattan 3 years ago. That's the kind of stuff they do. They don't want to waste 1 second on it as long as they're getting the cash out of it now.
But this isn't a typical REIT. They've invested in that specific mall.
Right.
And so if this mall doesn't pay off, it's going to be a problem for them. But that's a really small problem for that company.
It is. And there's creation around them. And the classic example is go down to Lloyd Center, they're called zombie malls, where there's a couple weird businesses in them that nobody goes to, but it's throwing off enough money based upon what the original costs were that the owner is like, I'm not gonna tear it down yet. And that's, I think, what they got going on out there. And so I hope, and I probably said this publicly, we're gonna design the road, we're gonna take out all the parking in front of Coach and Starbucks. I'm gonna tell all of the residents of the mall, the businesses, hey, sorry, we're gonna have to do this is what's gonna happen, we're gonna have a roadway right around through your mall here. We tried to work with Time Equities to have a different alternative, but they no longer want to discuss anything with us, and so we have to do this because they won't talk with us, and I'm just gonna be honest with them without getting sued for libel, so. Yeah, it's been very frustrating for me that they don't understand, and again, I got my soapbox again here. If you integrate that mall into our development out there with any developer, everybody wins, everybody wins. Time Equity, but they don't want to spend the 2 or 3 years dealing with it to get that done for the future of 50 years of making a ton more money. They don't think that way. So it's really sad. But again, when you poker, you get to play the cards you're dealt. You don't get to ask for more. So. No, Kenny, you don't. You get to play the cards you're given. Anything else? Thanks, John. Hey, thank you all for all your work. I really appreciate it. This is gonna be so fun when we finally get these decisions done and things develop. But at least we're at the point where things can happen now. And, gosh, getting that trail and park done is gonna be really cool down there. So anyway, thank you all.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Just so Zach doesn't feel like he can't
Appreciate it.
run. Chair man.
Right. Okay. Comments? Changes you'd like to see made?
Comments, changes to the RFQ or comments to what he said?
RFQ. Well, you can do comments to what he said.
I will just tell you that I went to a city council meeting recently, and this subject was discussed. And more than one counselor said that it doesn't matter because these people that voted for this in 2006 are either, quote, dead, moved away, or don't remember. Okay? Go back and listen to the tape. Because I read this. The old sewage treatment plant will be redeveloped. And basically what it talks about is a riverfront park, public plaza, public parking facility, and pedestrian overpass connecting the historic downtown with the redeveloped site. That's what we walked on in 2006, and that's basically what we told people. And I'm a little different because I think you honor your word until you can't. And I think that if we say people aren't gonna remember, I think that's really lame. But that's just me. And I will say this, yes, it's been 18 years. We didn't put out an RFQ until 2022. So you can't really say you've been at this for 18 years, because you haven't. What we tried to do was we tried to do something with Yoshida. It didn't work out. And who was gonna go down there until it got cleaned up? You finally got into a place where you could actually do something now. You couldn't do that before. It's an opinion. But I do think that we shouldn't have gone out and asked for the money if we weren't gonna do what we said, or at least try to do what we said. And that's just kind of a sticker with me.
Right. So now we need to come up with an RFQ, including
Yeah, I think we have to
pointing in
understand.
that direction.
I think we have to kind of understand where we are today, what we promised back then, and try to come up with something that's gonna bring all of this together effectively. But to look at it and say that this is all about residential housing, I don't believe is ever gonna get you where you wanna go. And I've said that before, that's an opinion, but I just don't think that's what people are signing up for. You were around in '06.
Yeah, I have the flyer in my purse. Yeah, I think we had good vision and understanding the connection of the old town wanting it to do well. We didn't know that because of Marlene, all your advertisement and all your, whatever, all this great stuff that you do, that you're creating a really vibrant, thriving place that's actually a lot of fun and it's growing. It's really, really cool. So, but connection is important, and I think the housing, we talked about residential. I don't think we ever talked about apartments. Not to say that you don't need a mix of some. That's going to help come to downtown, and then also, you know, keep the places open and stuff like that. But parking again. Wood's proposal for, one of their hotels was only 70 parking spaces. And that was very concerning to me because I forget how many square feet that, I think it was like 4-story or I forget, several stories and thousands of square footage, and then with only 70 parking spaces. So that already just kind of got me concerned how our residents gonna be able, if they drove to visit and to use that linear park and such, but, yeah. It, just while I have the floor, when they talked about, we had talked before about not wanting any residents kind of on that front row, so we didn't feel like we were walking into somebody's neighborhood. And then they mentioned something about doing the 3-story and on the bottom that they could have the option to have a business or not, if it didn't work out, that it could be living space also. I went to Fairview the other day just to purposely see how it was going for their, I think they're 3-story units, and then the bottom was supposed to be retail or business and such. It's really, really sad, because there's no vibrancy, there's no life. It's kind of a dead zone. You have the library that is thriving, and then you have the city hall, but then in between, it's even like beware of dog, 3 of them are for sale. Not one business was open. And then there was only a handful of like services, like, I don't know if it was tax or, stuff like that. So it really created just like a nothing's going on here, dead zone. Why would I even come here to look to see what was open? And so I'm just still sticking with, I don't care for that idea.
Well, if you go down Civic Drive in Gresham, they did that, and there's no business.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
not.
I was thinking of that one as well, yeah. So, just footnote.
But in the RFQ on page 6, they do stress home ownership specifically, which I'd like to see stay in there.
Yes.
I would like to also see stressing that this is the only access to that property, so that they realize that nothing, at this point, barring a miracle down the road, this is what they're stuck with.
Well, do we have to stress that?
Well, don't waste your time coming up.
Well, you're not hiding anything from them, and
Right, yeah.
maybe, I don't know, maybe somehow somebody's nephew plays Yahtzee with Ami's kid or something, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
You never know.
The thought on that is, this is gonna be around for a lot of years. Someday, that may be different ownership of that mall. So I like on page 6 that there's an obvious place that there could be a road connection 20 years from now. So, I think it might be a good idea to ask that the future be considered for that potential someday to be connected. I think the biggest limitation on this is that access road. It's a real downer.
Oh. Can I talk?
Yeah.
Okay, Diane. Okay, one thing that I really, really liked about Capstone, because I was reading this, it was nice to be reminded of what was in here, which is written well. And Capstone, they had that extra building that was kind of in that big space that looked like it was for the people, and then the buildings were a little bit further back. That created this natural corridor, so it really felt like it belonged to the community. I like that building that they had, that looked like it could be used for multi-purposes or different things. And it reminded me, in my footnotes here, I have Eugene they did a Lane County Farmers Market Plaza is what they call it. And so what they have is that, it costs like $9 million, okay, let's just have to say that, but anyway. It's a really cool building, and it has restrooms in it, it has water, and then it's farmer's market, and then the doors open up, and so what they created was, let's say you did do a farmer's market along the road, along the pathway, or if you had some other event going on, you did have a place for vendors and such that they need, like I did Portland Starter Market for 10 years. You had a source of water, you had a source of toilet. It was enclosed, and I know we couldn't afford anything like that, but I don't even know how to put that in there. Like, that's what Capstone reminded me of, that it could have been a conference that could have been rented out, you know, money could be made of it, but it also was, it also served the community if you did a small concert or anything like that, and you have to have some tables put away or some chairs and stuff like that, so you're not hauling from whatever resource the city has, if the city did sponsor anything or put, but, I didn't know if that was somehow feasible to put, like, as a recommendation for community or their use, they could even be in control of it for renting it out if the city doesn't have enough resources to do that. But anyway, that's one footnote I had, and it's called the Lane Farmers Plaza. It's beautiful, it's so neat, it's tall ceiling, and they let the natives come in and do some work with it, and there's some specific architecture. I talked to the gentleman who designed it. But anyway, that just created a great spot, a landing zone for farmers market or for whatever else is going on. And they rented out as well for weddings and whatever else.
So Tanny,
Sir.
on page 4, first full paragraph,
Yes.
I'm thinking that maybe where it says, the city recognizes the importance of enhanced access, that we delete the rest of that paragraph, but include
Through the Columbia Gorge outlets on an existing, okay.
Right.
The city recognizes the importance of, well, it is through the outlets on an existing public right-of-way.
Right,
That is true.
but we're enhancing, the city is working on fully developing 257th Way?
The city is, but the city's gonna be at a little slower pace with 257th Way.
You could say design,
Yeah,
like in the design process or.
Yeah,
yeah, we're gonna be designing it, and, you know, depending on timing,
Right.
right? It may or may not be constructed.
257th Way.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the timing.
How it
of-
would go, yeah.
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 But we're definitely are in the design phase.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about how we recreate that paragraph,
Yeah,
where we
we
ended
should
that.
probably rewrite that whole paragraph. It's worded a
I mean,
little-
the first part of it looks good,
We'll take a look at that and
But,
we'll reword.
yeah, but it's, Ray was sounding like they want to get in there and go ahead and knock out the parking in front of the coach and all of that.
Well, you threaten to at least.
We definitely wanna show folks
Yeah,
our design and what it would look like.
Right.
you know what you should do? Is just go paint it.
Give Ray a can of spray paint and.
No, why wouldn't you just paint it? Right?
Take out all the parking.
Are you talking about the surveys, like tagging, or?
Yeah, just like go out there, right? And put little marks out there where it would be. Nothing intrusive. You put some marks and the shopkeepers are gonna come out and go, what the heck is this?
Then they call
Start a
Mommy and
buzz.
say, what's going on here?
Because if you're Levi's or one of those,
Or Starbucks.
you're gonna get burned.
Starbucks just sunk all that money into there and
Yeah,
then all of a
not
sudden.
only do you not have parking, you're gonna have traffic in front of you. It's gonna be very hard to operate.
There's enough empty storefronts, they'll probably just move into a different one.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, fair.
You think that's a bad idea? Zach and I'll go out to the campaign.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I don't care. Yeah.
I think it would certainly get people talking.
Maybe talk about that after the recording's turned off. Kidding. I
I
watched
think
the-
we, with the parking area too, we've talked a lot about how Starbucks and Levi's and Coach would lose the parking in front. But there's also impacts to the loading areas and the space behind Eddie Bauer, Loft. All those stores that are on that side as well, that would drastically change how they operate everything that happens behind the buildings. I think that's one of the things that we've spoken less about or don't know the full impacts of yet. That could potentially be concerning to them as well.
This is Jim. I watched a previous meeting's recording, maybe it was the last meeting here, and I think it was Adrian was very concerned about there being grocery.
Right.
Am I thinking of the right meeting? Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And the ability for, if there would be a number of residents there, for them to more easily access food than just the plaid pantry, or was concerned about a distance going up to the stores up on the hill. Made me think, well, the mall is right there. Could there not be a small grocery there to help them and to help the neighborhood? Just a thought. But that's, again, the mall.
Well, you are putting a lot of people down there with no services,
Yes.
which is the issue. But the only thing, and I said this before, the only thing I can compare it to is South Waterfront, right? We have 4,600 people down on South Waterfront and pretty good income streams, a lot of condos, things of that nature. We haven't gotten anybody down there yet. We can't get somebody to go down there. Because 4,600, because you're not pulling from very far, and that's not anywhere near enough.
It's not enough load to support that type of business,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
Even a
Yeah.
small format, yeah.
That's interesting.
Got with Zoo Pens up the street and Fred Meyer all the way up on Barber, I guess.
I also, this is Jim again, echo Diane's concerns about parking. With this new development, this downtown is already compressed. We were here for First Friday. Had a great time, but it would have been better if there were twice as many people. I suspect that many couldn't, because you have to close Second to allow the bypass for the traffic, and now you can't get people down here. And I do also, I know it's not this topic for this meeting, but I also thought the way you did about the shuttle service. If that's to happen, it would be nice if there were another place for the parking for that to be, and then join the shuttle and not allow that to park here. Because downtown being clogged with all the parking of people getting on a bus to go somewhere else makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, Diane, yeah, I had envisioned this issue decades ago when but the previous administration was not, they weren't honed in on that. Like I said even they get paid parking on this side. So now what I'm thinking is, and I know this sounds radical, but but on the waterfront is I'm almost thinking about like the best place for apartments would be like when you go under the path, under the railroad, take a hard left, the furthest corner you get, make that phase 3 apartments, but for now, make it a huge parking lot. See what our needs actually are or aren't. Those people can park there flat and then walk down and then go under the nice little, the train, and then see what's needed, like if people that work in downtown, I don't know, because I just see once we get all these other businesses going, it's like, yeah, Troutdale's adorable, cute, and amazing, but if the dollars aren't coming in to sustain your business, because rent's not cheap, even the cafe, and I heard a story about no, I won't go into that, but it's not cheap to rent. Maybe if you own it and you got the deal when they first put things in, like the Maydews did when they first created, but if you go in and the pressure just to make that money or have that square footage, pay off, it doesn't work unless you have the people coming in. And I know that, like, that's why I chose the Portland Saturday Market. I had conventions near me and all sorts of stuff. I had thousands of people go by me. So the odds of me selling something that I had to try to do a fabulous product with, was a lot higher than if you don't have nobody, so just, I'm concerned for the holistic vision of what's going down here.
I have to ditto this, Carol. I'm concerned once those apartments are built, it is gonna be a nightmare coming downtown. And then, we really have to take the parking as an issue. I mean, we came down first Friday, but we had to walk, and I was walking with a 2-year-old because I could not, park anywhere down here. So we walked from home because we knew there wasn't gonna be any parking with 4 kids. And so you're missing out on other families who may come down who aren't coming, and we're missing the Troutdale citizens who may be more involved. And I'm really concerned that, yes, we need people to come to our community. I would love people to come to our community, but what about those that are in our community already? And there are no services down here. I mean, I don't know how often the bus comes, but I know on Troutdale Road, it comes like once every hour, maybe. I mean, it's not the greatest traffic, transportation. And if we're talking about a shuttle, if you're talking about shuttling families, where's the car seats? And how are those gonna be provided? There's a lot of logistics that has to be worked out on that. Because you can't put a kid on your lap, it's against the law. They have to have a seatbelt. So how does that work with the shuttles? I don't know, I know school buses don't, but if you're shuttling somebody all the way over here, do they not have to have a seatbelt? I thought they did. You can't just have a kid running around, can you? I don't know.
No, they have-
Busing.
I don't
You'd have
think
to
a
hold them.
bus, right?
Shirley?
I agree with Home Ford moving those new apartments in with very minimal, I would say minimal parking. They have to go up 257 to Stark Street to get to a grocery store, or down Halsey or Cherry Park, which right now is supposed to get a bus route but doesn't have a bus route. The buses don't run after 9:30 on a weekend, so there is no transportation, and it is once an hour usually on the weekend, because there are usually more people staying at a bus stop on a weekend than there are on a weekday, because they're waiting for the one bus that comes by and they don't want to miss it. Again, we're divided in half by the 257th as a major collector, which makes it even harder to go downtown. I won't go downtown because, again, there's no parking, number one. And it's just not, it's just not feasible for me to drive down there because, again, there's no parking and I can't walk there. And I refuse to wait for the bus. I'm sorry. It costs more to wait for a bus than it does for me to drive somewhere, so time-wise. But again, we need to look at, I'm with Tanny, we need to look at that as a whole and design it so it's not all residential. It has to have some business in there to sustain it. But what that looks like, I do not know, because I know the ones that have living quarters above were beyond that threshold, because most of the ones I've seen, even in Wood Village and Fairview, they're not full. They're still very vacant. So I don't know what the issue, what we can do about that, but we do need some kind of business. But again, we need a better entrance but like, I agree with Tanny, we should mark it out and show the businesses what it's gonna look like, kind of.
This is Zach. Yeah, a lot of good thoughts around. I will say out of all the comments, that Riverfront Plaza is definitely gonna be, I think, like integral to making this work for both the residents and for, in the interest of tourism. Not only in the sense of like, from a business standpoint, but just with community involvement, like Diane had mentioned, when it comes to a space that can be used for farmers markets, like you know, Gresham's Farmer Market is an example, using the plaza as a big pull when it comes to stands. They have art fairs going through that, concert space. I mean, especially with how often it rains here, obviously having a covered space would be cool, but short of that, I think just even making the space a priority for residents in addition to the financial interests, which will also impact residents, you know, I think is important. At the city council meeting that Tanny referenced at the beginning, I also spoke my piece there. When it comes to striking that balance, you know, to kind of echo what you had mentioned at that meeting, we do have one shot at this, and I know that's why we've been careful to a degree up to this point to kind of really pick and choose what we do with it, and how we spend them. Well, I mean, not how we spend the money always, but good intentions are always there. But realistically, I feel like our hands are kind of tied in various ways right now that would really obviously make an ideal impact, especially when tying it to the downtown area, which is a big priority. And Marley, again, terrific work you've done so far on like really building that up, looking at the depot, the pathway, like everything that you're really like working to make, you know, make it happen is really paid off really well, and will continue to pay off. So thanks for that. You know, but just looking again at what we have on the table in a less than ideal situation, I guess I just I would agree in the sense that we do obviously have to find a balance between what the market wants and what is really requested and kind of presented. I do not think that we should compromise heavily on what we originally intended for this, regardless of what we think people may have forgotten about. I think the overall vision for that is unique enough and I think specific enough to what this town needs and what it could be, to where we don't want to I guess sacrifice that just based on like, again, filling the coffers all the way back up. You know, obviously it's there's other things at play and we need to be smart financially about it. And I guess it's what I'm getting at too is it's a challenge to. It's not necessarily going to be up to us to try and figure it all out. You know, I guess that's what the RFQ is for. We're going to be putting it out there with great minds to figure it out. But I think if we just kind of refocus in on what we really want to outline and kind of guide that as best we can, knowing kind of having gone through the process, capitalizing on the plaza space, capitalizing on vertical space, making it an important part to have, I mean, like realistic expectations. When it comes, I agree with, we don't want a building going up right behind that potential future throughway. We want to basically plan it out to where we can maybe make adjustments in the future, maybe try and figure out or present a concept of space that can be utilized for residential or changing of a purpose later on. Not necessarily a shared space like you were mentioning, like that can be converted, but maybe there's a good in between that is more financially viable.
Yeah, just real quick.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that, but if it was in the back, I'm just talking about the front, so I'm thinking
Oh,
like
sure.
the blue area here where it's showing housing, like on the front, I think that's where they got the idea that maybe we're okay with like on the waterfront.
Oh, I see.
You see it, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think, I mean, I work on the south waterfront. I walk on my lunch to go down like that walkway all along the river, the Willamette, and I mean, it's a nice walkway. There's a lot of modern buildings, there's a lot of really nice green space. The way that they balance it's fine, but like, it's very starkly residential when you go over there, right? It's for the residents there. It's very noticeable. There's not any other features and anything like that. So I mean, there's definitely a balance to be met when it comes to the the place for the residents and place for people to come in and enjoy. I was actually surprised at First Friday how many people I was talking to just in the brief like hour I was there, that aren't from here.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of surprised by that. You know, I was trying to ask people what their favorite parks were and stuff, and they're just like, "I don't live here." It's like, "Oh, wow, that's fantastic." You know, welcome. Have a Troutdale sticker, but you know, with that in mind, I guess I don't want to ramble too much more because I feel like I'm going to start doing it, but. I guess, again, what I'm getting at is just, this is something I don't think we should really compromise heavily on. It's something that we have a vision for. It's something that, yes, we definitely are gonna need some elements, maybe, you know, not an ideal balance from what we originally thought, just to make it a viable plan now. But there are ways that we can control that, like you're saying, where we put them, how we move things around, what we prioritize in the RFQ, and really focus on bringing out the best qualities that we're looking for in order to make sure that it is the most ideal solution for a less than ideal circumstance, I guess.
Diane, but yeah, one thing like, I was like writing down what I liked about Troutdale. And so like Edgefield, I wrote down like outdoor eating. So I didn't know if like this is like, we can recommend outdoor eating spaces.
Oh, totally.
You know, and especially if they're covered because it rains. Cause we just went to Cascade Locks and I forgot what their brewery's name is, Thunder Island. Thunder Island Brewing, the new one. So I think that's a metal building, but they got really creative and things open up. You could eat outside. And then, also, I wrote that, Edgefield, we love the landscaping. So that what Edgefield did is they have, I call it Northwest meets English cottage garden, but you enjoy all the spaces, so everywhere you walk, we can maybe say, you know, attention to landscaping, you know, so you're creating a total field, like what's the right word, it starts with a C anyway, campus, you know, like Edgefield is, you know, and use in different buildings or whatever, so that's the uniformity thing that's holding things together, but it's making it very interesting, like, oh, look at the camellias, look at the blossoming cherries, you know, I just go for walks there sometimes when I'm not playing shuffleboard or whatever I do, yeah, but, out of line, but anyway, so, and then I put, let's see what else was nice, okay, the creativeness, Lauer even said that at the beginning of this packet, which we were all talking about too, is city's looking for creative and an innovative partner. And that's why I think we like Capstone. They wanted the best of the best people, the makers. So what they were also thinking is, how are we gonna get somebody really interesting here and also, maybe they have longevity. So like Thunder Island Brewery, they were a little place that were closer to the water, back at the Cascade Locks. And then they're there and they're thriving, but they're doing something well. And so they were seeking out people for success. And they had a group and they go, okay, we're partnership here, and they had a vision. So I think we need to focus on that vision, because then that's something that's different and unique. And when we're talking about market rates and all that kind of stuff, and I get that, yeah, we're bound by those things, but this is water, semi-glacier clean water coming from the beautiful Mount Hood. This is something unique and different or whatever, so we gotta give some credits for that, you know, that's the average, and then this is a little bit special, and that's why maybe Capstone was interested in doing something creative to put their name onto, you know, because this was gonna be something unique. And so I really want it's opened up again for people to really understand that that's really important. And I think one of the pictures, somebody did do that area that I liked, which was, Hood River. So that's the pizza place Solstice, who used to be at, across the river at Lyle. I frequented when it was in Lyle, special, different, handcrafted, made with, you know, a lot of attention and love and all. And then when they moved, it's, you know, it still worked. It still worked, and, you know, it's a metal building, nothing special about the building, but you've got masters at their craft. And then they come, people seek that out, foodies and all that. That's why I always go to Sugar Pine here and there and see who's here, what's going on. Foreigners, different people from everywhere. And they're doing some really good advertisement, but you can't just do amazing advertisement without having a product. And
So quick clarifying question on that. Are you saying we should be prioritizing like craft, like makerspace sort of thing? Or are you saying like coming in potentially with established like businesses ahead of time, kind of like
well, just,
Capstone did when it
yeah,
came to
but
like that
and I don't even know if
local
you could put that in there. That's why I'm saying you could put outdoor, you know,
okay.
Edgefield, like, I don't know what verbiage, but, I'm just saying that's why they must have read this, but they also have the vision. And I just don't know how to put in there that we really want something special like Edgefield McMenamin, which that's the McMenamin brothers' favorite location of all the locations they have. That's their favorite. And, the other thing that's maybe not in here is to maybe, I don't know how you put like honor the historic, like even if it's lampposts or whatever, or the rock that's on the west side of the Troutdale Bridge that I think it was Italians had come and did it, that's along the historic highway. But some of those features too mix in, and because that's another thing we like here. You know what I mean? So it's the outdoor eating, it's the greens, the landscaping, and it's, you know, we love that bridge. So, but I don't think it's written anywhere in here. But it's like,
On page 6, we have
Is it-
sense of place and history.
yeah,
So we could
yeah, but what does that mean?
expand,
Yeah.
well, it talks about the water tower and
And it's because I respect business
Preserving.
people's money too, so when these guys come in and they do a proposal, I understand there's time, effort, money, and whatever, you know, for it to be not shut down, but, you know, yeah, they're trying to, you know, get the gig or whatever, but if we're a little bit more clear on like, what do we like?
Sure.
right.
And, you know, what do we as the community enjoy, then they might have a little bit, you know, understanding.
Yeah.
And then they could present like their creative vision, and then we could go, well, you know, it works or it doesn't.
Yeah, I think there's a little give and take between obviously allowing creative flow for what they do and also still kind of giving a little bit more guidelines to where it's gonna save you some time and effort, so it makes sense. So you're considering maybe including some like consistency or like with the downtown theme when in
Well,
like
it
specifically,
just
is that
could
what
be,
you're
it could
saying?
just be sprinkles. People need to be creative and do what they're gonna do.
Sure,
Because it could still look like Hood River, like that new part that they did, kind of looks industrial. But you could throw components of like a nice old looking lamp, you know, flower baskets. You could do, but ferns, you could do Northwest native, whatever. But I'm just saying, just keep in mind, we like that. And that we would like that if there was, you know, some, you know,
Tie
yeah.
from, you know, downtown to.
Well, and historically, this was always the industrial site for town, and so there could be elements of industrial things that are connections to the history of the, like, we don't have the old buildings anymore, we've just got the water tower, but it can have that industrial tie to the industries that were there that did build Troutdale.
sheep wandering around.
Yeah. Cheap art installation.
Yes, sir.
You look at, like on page 27, right, we talk about the criteria and evaluation and points. And maybe we go to an extent of doing a better job in our narrative of explaining how important it is to tie in the development to the linear park and tie it in, and who are your partners? Who is part of your team? Not just, you know, the master developer themselves, but who is it they're gonna bring in to operate this? maybe we put more emphasis on that. Get a little bit more out of them up front. But, you know, even when you look at this, it's like, you look at like the wood one, it's phased. And what they said when they talked to us was they were gonna build the residential, and the commercial piece was gonna be on the bottom floor of the residential. But they weren't contingent upon that renting to make it work. That was gonna be basically like a bonus for them. And the hotel was gonna come later, and the other commercial was gonna come later. And I think if you're gonna have it vibrant, I don't know how you could put the residential down there and not have the commercial piece going. And what I mean is like the freestanding commercial piece. Because that's the only way you're gonna tie that whole thing together. I don't see another way to do it unless you guys do.
No, Zach, I 100% agree. I mean, again, going back to the exact kind of building models that we're seeing that are left empty in that sense and feel like dead zones, like, it was more hopeful, I think, hearing some of the ideas, again, that Capstone had about like, we're gonna have this cider company in, we're gonna have this coffee place in, like, it's already painting a picture of like a community center that is more promising in creating that vibrant space, because you're going and swinging right off the bat. So I would agree with that for sure.
And depending on how that is all done, that can fill up just as easily as it doesn't fill up. And you're thinking, you know, why isn't Fairview filling up? Why isn't Fairview filling up? What's the draw? What's the synergy? If you were gonna start a business, would you start a business there? What?
What? We started a business there 22 years ago,
Fairview?
Fairview, on
You're not
Village
there
Street.
anymore.
And it was ideal spot because all these businesses coming in, the library was right across the street and everything. And 6 months from then, we were downtown Troutdale. And we've been here for 22 years. So, yeah, it was a promise made to people when they built that village that never came to fruition. And a lot of stuff was supposed to go in the village,
Fairview Village,
Fairview Village,
yeah.
and they sold the property for apartments. There's no church, there's no, meeting space, it's now all apartments.
And you know where, you know where the VA thing is?
Uh-huh.
Okay, we were gonna go in there. We didn't.
Any more comments on this? Yes.
I'll add a little something. So to what Diane was saying, I wrote down on my paper and underlined destination, because I feel like that is what you've been describing, like Sugar Pine is a destination dining experience. Edgefield is a destination, I won't say resort, but in a sense resort, it's a destination, these are all different destinations that people want to go to. And so I think what you're describing is building this site up and having places there that are destinations in and of their own rights, but they're so close together that, because all of our destinations are spread out, you can't walk from one to the other. And then this is an opportunity that we have to have a place where there's multiple destinations within it and it connects with some of our other sites. And I think that is to the point of the freestanding destination commercial spaces, like having the more unique architecture, the more unique landscaping, and highlighting those elements. I think there's some wording that we can change in the RFQ document that really speaks more to that and paints that picture a little bit better than how it currently reads.
I like how you put that, Mark.
Well, I think that's what we saw in the Capstone proposal, was it was a destination. The other two were not really destination, but Capstone was And that's, I think, a term we've used all along in this is destination. And that's what we want, you know, people to come, have a reason to come.
Have a parking space when they come.
Did you get that? Did you hear me, Marlene?
Yes. Has anyone taken the shuttle to First Friday, just out of curiosity?
I saw it go past the Barnyard concert, Zoom, so we didn't get it, right?
You can fly them down.
You could what?
You can fly them down.
Okay, because
There's
before they
like a
would
pull-out
stop really
spot.
quick, because I was really good at getting the people off the bus, I was like, hey, great concert, great whatever, and then they were so delighted, because we have our museums open. See, so it's like museum opportunity, get grounded more in Troutdale and understand and, you know, love this community and come visit again. So I grab people off the sidewalk, I'm going to, but it's like, I had the best band there, one of the best bands ever, and anyway, it was good, right?
It was very good.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing, but the shuttle, zoom,
Yeah.
we go, guys, hey, how's it going? I go, hey, you want some popcorn? Go to popcorn, but
Yeah,
people would come off that didn't plan on coming off, and
we were hoping they would walk from the,
no, they're not gonna.
There wasn't that many people, because, Miss Carol, because we walked down there, and then we walked down to the art center, and there was hardly anybody there. So it's like there was no connection whatsoever from downtown
that's always been the struggle.
to that area. And I was looking at, trying to figure out, how can we make the connection? But there's no even signage that says anything's down there. So if you come and you see this whole thing happening downtown, you know, because you don't know the area, so you look, oh, well, there's something going on, I'm gonna go down there. They see these cones that are up and they think, oh, that's the end. They have no clue that there's such gorgeousness further down.
Yeah, we've tried with different, we had banners, we had balloons, we had all sorts of things, and we've never been able to successfully get people to go all the way down, even with every addition we can come up with.
But when the shuttle stopped, it was really good, because then people would get on and off.
Yeah.
But it did.
We just need to convince more people to take the shuttle.
Yeah.
So, but you can park at the outlet mall, get on the shuttle and come to the event. So everyone should try it in
Okay.
September.
Very good.
Yeah, no, I'm walking.
So what is the shuttle that the, what is the
Shuttle?
shuttle that the outlet mall is talking about? In our emails.
Oh, in that email thread, it's just a tour operator that they wanna partner with that can do pickups and drop-offs at their site.
So do they want them to take place of the shuttle that we're using?
No,
Oh, okay.
it has nothing to do with our events. I don't know how you got looped into that.
It keeps getting tied in with the events. She-
I know,
you
it
she
doesn't
wants
have-
to-
it
It's like
doesn't have
she
anything
wants
to
to
do with
tie
it.
it in with the events, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with that.
No, Marley, I think for me, as a grandparent, I think I'm trusting somebody else to drive my 4 grandchildren and no seats. That concerns me. So I'd rather walk, because I think it's more safe. I mean, I guess if I was by myself, I might try doing the shuttle, but it's just a safety thing for me. And it could be a safety thing for everybody else. I don't know. I don't know anything shuttle, so.
I wanna make a compliment.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know if it's y'all that's done this, but the new garbage cans downtown, thank you.
Oh,
The new
those are,
trash cans are awesome.
they're really nice.
Yeah, we
I
got
hope
a
people-
grant for those.
I'm sure people are using them, that's really nice, thank you.
Yeah, Ryan Largura, our environmental specialist, was the one who got the grant from Metro for all of those trash recycling
Nice.
bins.
The big bellies.
Yep, the big bellies. And Kevin and I did the inserts in them with the,
And I see
Summer
people
events.
stopping on the street and look at those inserts.
good, hopefully they don't notice the typo.
Oh,
I like the inserts.
They look great.
We stared at that so long, I can't believe we missed it, but we did.
yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, so we'll hopefully have, rotating different, talk about all the different seasonal events and have other inserts that we can place in them. And they're in all the parks in downtown, so it's not just, or in all the parks in the city, they're not just in downtown, so.
I didn't notice a typo. I bet very few people did, but would you please, on all your upcoming designs, put a typo in just for us to have as an Easter egg?
Little Easter eggs
Yeah.
everywhere,
We'll look for it.
yeah, we could do something like that. Maybe not a typo, but we'll throw Easter eggs in.
Okay, so is there any more information you guys want from us? Do you have any? Is it any clearer now than it was when you walked in the room?
Yeah, I mean, so I think we have really good feedback of how we can improve and enhance the RFQ that we have with the discussion here tonight. I guess, would this committee, does this committee feel like we need to go out for another one, and when, and would you like to make a recommendation to the URA board?
I would say yes.
And, I mean, what is the other option, that you're kind of having? Just going with wood, or is that, what are you proposing, I guess, or you're just saying in general?
In general,
Versus doing nothing?
That's the other option, yeah.
correct.
We could do it for
Just
18 years.
I would propose we
Stopping.
go out again.
Pardon me?
I would propose we go out again.
Versus not doing anything.
Right.
I think not doing anything would be a poor option.
Well, yeah.
I agree.
But you would send out an RFQ, and you're saying, when would you send it out? What, like,
Well, I'm looking at the
first of the
schedule.
year,
Right.
like March? What,
Whatever it seems like, I mean, it seems pretty open-ended, so.
The last
Okay.
one went out 2 days from now, 3 days from now, in 2022. So 2 years ago was issued in August.
What's, kind of,
And we gave them a month.
let me just ask, what sort of timeline does it take to develop that? Like, do you see that going through a couple of revision processes, and then you want to, of course, you have the holidays coming and all that sort of thing
Exactly.
too, right? There's busyness.
Because this will take a couple rounds of revisions, and we would like to bring it back to TCAB and make sure that everybody's input has been incorporated. That's gonna take some time. It's a busy fall season. We have elections, and then we have the holidays. Looking at that, you know, the preference would be to put something out probably after the new year.
It said 1st of February. Makes sense. You should-
I guess you could, February's not a very exciting month.
Wait,
We'll have
that's
plenty
my
of time to
birthday month.
respond. Cause they got nothing else going on, so.
Oh.
Well, they don't have anything going on, but they also don't have anything coming in very well either.
So that's a good time for them to come up with a proposal for us.
Well, the converse side to that could be, they could look at it and say, based on what's going on in February, we better scale this down to Cracker Box Palace instead of something different. And I don't know that that would happen, but maybe you put it out then and they have to have it back in April or something of that nature, right?
Typically, but I think this RFQ, we put out for 30 days, I believe.
Seems short.
The deadline was November 9th, and so if we put it out, what'd you say, 2 days from now? We have it
Okay.
open for a pretty decent amount of
Yeah,
time.
that was a pretty decent
So it went out 18th of August, and they had to have it back by the 7th of October. So that's 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
6 or 8 weeks, 2 months.
Yeah, but then we
And then we interviewed.
You're
October.
asking for a
extended
lot,
it a
give them
month.
2 months, man.
Yeah.
extended it a month to November 9th. I'm looking at the website right now.
Excuse me, you extended it what?
We extended the deadline, like
Oh,
originally
right,
it was in
that's right, we
October, and then
did.
we pushed it back a month
That's right,
Yeah.
we did.
because of feedback on responding.
Oh, that's
Like, cause they all wanted to submit like some sort of design and not just,
Yeah.
cause we never actually asked anyone to submit designs.
Any firm that's going to go to the lengths of putting together a good package that's well thought out, financed, and has the good thought that we're looking for is gonna take at least 2 to 3 months. Yeah. I think.
And how long does it take them to even hear about it?
She'll call
I mean, it
them.
really depends on like, how we
Yellow
advertise.
pages.
Okay.
For it.
I'm just
Yeah.
so bummed Capstone didn't
So
wanna,
if we did the first of
I'm so
February
bummed Capstone didn't wanna work
and
around
had them back
not
by,
being able to
April.
work full.
by April
Stupid.
I know,
15th.
but that's what I mean,
was
like,
thinking that April,
now we're looking
2.5
for somebody.
months.
I don't want
The
to
one
not
thing,
propose.
the one thing to think
That's-
about with that
that's
is
the-
that
that's the only
we
option we
toured
have,
the site
you know?
during that time period.
As of right
is it
now,
the
you know,
best
planning
time
forward, but.
To see this.
Do what?
Because of that, yeah, because of the weather.
Is it, yeah. I mean,
Because that's-
hypothetically, the responses are gonna be local, but in the chance that you don't get a local, you could get some non-local
What'd you say?
responses.
Because of the weather during
Right.
the February, people are coming out to look at it. The weather may not be the greatest for them to come out and observe.
I don't know, that changes. if
Ain't
we
gonna be
don't
any
have-
better in March or January.
March is better. February, we still might get some
February's
freaky,
snow.
yeah, cold thing
So if it goes out in,
and wind.
say, February, then they come in March to take a look at it and submit questions.
I mean.
And that's if we want that to
I'm just
happen,
looking at
you
the
know, we
schedule.
don't have to take that into consideration if we don't want
You
to,
didn't even put
especially if
anything
you
out
want
in
to have someone
2022.
But then
development,
March later,
hypothetically.
what's the deadline for scheduling?
Or,
Anybody that would
we get it out
check out
next
this
month.
area, they know Hood River.
Next month?
I mean,
And,
how much more revisions do we gotta make on it? Let's just get it out next month.
Because Hood River is
That'd be
way
great.
windier.
I mean, let's
than
just
we
do
are.
it. Why are we waiting so long? Let's just.
He wants it out in September.
Let's just change some
Do we
sentences
need that many
around,
more resent-
refine a bit, I'll work on it if I
Refine.
have to, like, let's just get it out next month. Like, why are we waiting until March of next year?
Wait a minute, you're asking that?
Yeah,
Seriously?
yeah, sure.
I don't, a lot of people aren't going to take something like this on before an election.
Yeah, alright, it's the election year, it's the
Yeah.
election.
Because they're gonna wait and see what
Yeah, it's true, it's true.
interest rates are, tax rates.
Yeah.
So send it out November 15th. I know what happened.
Let the new administration get in, they'll lower interest rates for a little bit, you know, whoever it is.
Yeah.
So,
Now we're into
Keep forgetting
February.
about the election.
Now we're into February.
John,
See?
Yes, sir.
you hit November 15th, the election happens, they're drinking, then you got Thanksgiving, then you're heading into Christmas.
Yeah,
They're
New
drinking
Year.
for Thanksgiving, they're drinking for Christmas, they're drinking for New Year.
yeah, and our annual ice storm, you know,
Yeah,
the first
yeah,
week in January.
Wow. Alright, so it takes half a year to get anything, even remotely.
If we do this timeline, we'll be here during a snot run.
There we go, there we
Hey.
go.
But I
Do you think that's too long,
Too long of, what's too long?
next spring?
If it's 18 years, I mean.
I think it also shows that the trail is under, like, actually.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That's a good
And
point.
they could, yeah, and if they were to come out, they would see.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point.
He's been swayed.
I'm convinced. I retract my statement.
Your 18-year statement,
No, not that one.
when you didn't go out with an RFQ till 2022, that one?
This will, Shirley.
Yeah.
What's next?
All right,
Okay.
John, do you wanna see if anybody else?
So we'll make some changes and bring you back a.
Shirley? You had a question?
Yes,
Comment?
I like it. Good idea. Let's push it. You know, the holidays, you know, election, I agree, it's gonna be a hot mess, so. I agree that it should be pushed out. I like the idea of making it more, like the idea of trying to keep it the same as much as possible. But I do agree that we should put it out for a bit.
Okay.
February, March. No matter what, it's gonna snow or ice over at some point. But it's a good idea because we're getting that trail put in and that will maybe steer somebody to develop the property.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I just figured I might as well say something in this meeting. Been pretty quiet, but everybody's got some great ideas. I guess kind of trying to tie it all together in an idea of maybe where we're at in a macro sort of thing. I do agree with waiting maybe till the spring. There's just a lot of uncertainty, I think, economically and election wise right now. Everybody keeps talking about recession, possible asset bubble. We know what's happening with the struggling commercial real estate out there. And I think that's maybe where a lot of the management of this RFQ and the process is going to come in is really understanding that in a real estate market right now where commercial and retail is really struggling, and housing is where everybody is the low hanging fruit. We need houses, we need houses, we need houses. So whoever's going to come in is really going to be pushing the housing side, just like the Woods brothers. And they're even theirs or Wood Partners, sorry, with their idea that they would focus on the housing first, because that's where all the developers know that the interest is, and probably where the money and the capital to sell to the end user is. Whereas maybe some of that liquidity and commercial lending has tightened up a little bit, and maybe they're kind of trying to kick that can down the road. But that being said, I think really, Marley, you hit the nail on the head with trying to create a destination place. And if it truly is a special, spectacular place where with great design standards, all those sort of destination sort of businesses, that then potentially the housing in the area also helps support during the off season. That maybe is going to help try to push us more towards a vision that we see, which is a vibrant, commercial, retail, dining, housing, parks, all those sorts of things together. I suppose that's all I really wanted to add in there. I think we're doing great, and I think that all we can really do is do our best to tighten it up and see really what the interest is and what comes back, and kind of go from there. So just again, really appreciate everybody.
One of the things I was thinking we can add is the visitor data, finding a way to weave that story into the RFQ documents, because that's something we didn't have when we went out last time, so we can include some of that data on both residents and visitors and hopefully enhance it that way.
Righty. Staff communication. Anything?
Well, good news, Ray stated we're gonna be underway on the Sandy Riverfront Trail, later this summer, early fall. Riley, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I'll touch really quick on the Sandy River Shuttle survey, since that went up to you guys and it was brought up a couple of times today. So, I think I mentioned this in the past, but I'll go over it again just for clarity. We received a grant from Travel Oregon to do the Sandy River Shuttle and Troutdale Destination Feasibility Study, which is the longest title I've ever had to use for something. And then the city in complement to that, is doing the parking management study. So we have the same consultant working on both of those projects for us, so that because they dovetail really nicely, and we can consider both of them when we're having those conversations. The survey that's out right now is the first initial survey. There will be probably another survey once we actually have a potential route or possible off-site parking locations and other options, so we can get some feedback on those. But it's just the initial survey to get feedback on, if this existed, would you take it? Would you be interested in it? How would you want to utilize it? What other amenities would you maybe want, like being able to rent floats or something else? The connection to downtown, and that, I don't know, I'll have to check on the wording of it, but I don't think it was ever intended that downtown would be taking on the parking constraint of the potential shuttle. It was more so, how can we connect people who are going to the river to our downtown? so that they can come here for a beer afterwards or to go shopping, you know, so that they are actually coming and spending dollars in our downtown. So downtown connection is really more of just hypothetically a stop, and then there'd be another off-site location, whether that be the Confluence or maybe something near the airport for some off-site parking, or maybe even we can come up with an agreement with Edgefield. They've got a lot of overflow parking potential over there. So that was just a little bit of clarification on that for the survey. But yeah, if you can help us share the survey, that way we can get some more feedback on it. And I'll keep you updated when we have more information to share on the parking study, when we get that data back. We are currently working on another project to expand the visitor branding as well. So we've got like the city brand and the community brand. And this is just the Explore Troutdale brand itself. And making sure we have all the pieces that we need to be able to make maps and advertisements and brochures, collateral, and all those other sorts of things. So we're working on that right now, and we'll hopefully have that moving along soon. And I think that's it.
It's a lot.
There's more, but I think that's it for
That's it.
now.
There's a lot more.
There's a lot more. Yeah. And then Ray did mention, briefly, he talked about Taste of Village building being under new ownership, and so it's probably worth mentioning, since this is the Town Center Advisory Board, that, the proposal for that is hotel, like a boutique hotel, so it'd be a really small number of rooms, because you can't really fit that many in there anyways. And a restaurant on the main floor, which is similar to, maybe not the original use, or maybe the original use of the building.
Similar.
Chanticleer Inn in the past, I think. But yeah, so that proposal, they've done a pre-app, they've not submitted an application yet. It's not an opportunity site, so it won't be like a we comment on it sort of a thing, but just bring it to your attention so you're aware that it is something that could happen in the downtown.
Is the plumbing place moving?
Is the what?
Plumbing?
Oh, Alliance Plumbing, yes, they are moving out, at the end of this month.
Who's going in?
That is not, we're not sure yet.
Okay.
Well, he has to do a lot of work for that building, it's my
Oh,
understanding.
yeah, I mean, no one will be able to move into that building without a lot of work being
Yeah.
done, and I do believe that one is one of the opportunity sites. Yeah, there needs to be a lot of work done to that space, but I did notice that they had some sort of like a plumbing auction come buy stuff from us thing going on this morning or yesterday. There was a lot of people around there, and all the doors were open, and I've never seen all the doors open. So I'm assuming they were selling off equipment and stuff like that. But yeah, I did hear they're moving out by the end
The
of this month.
vehicles with flat tires are still sitting there, so.
The bank building next door has been repainted.
Yeah.
Looks really nice. I think that's pretty much it for the downtown stuff. Yeah, we've got a couple new businesses, of course, that we've talked about now.
Is there anything happening with the building here on the corner?
Building around the corner.
The one with the
Elk statue?
statue, whatever.
The
No.
Caswell building,
No,
is that the one that you're talking about?
Used to
old
be
Caswell.
Caswell,
Right,
I would
yes.
not refer.
We know
to
it as
that.
the Caswell.
Gretchen's place.
Okay. Oh, Gretchen's place, there's nothing happening there.
Is it an opportunity site?
I don't know that we actually did designate that one an opportunity site, because I think that it was pretty clear that nothing was
There's no
moving over there.
opportunity on that one.
The
As long as
city has
she's
tried
alive.
so many times to get a hold of her
Gretchen.
and express interest in seeing something,
Anything.
anything happen there, and have not received any correspondences back. I think Ray sent her flowers once.
It's such a beautiful building and the
Yeah,
outside.
and it's got
And
parking.
inside, and it has parking
What if you told her you call it Gretchen City Hall?
Yeah, that is what I would.
I guarantee her that Rip will never step foot in.
Oh, sorry, okay, we're on record. I mean, it's just a lovely building that she owns, and it'd be nice if she could use it.
I am glad that she keeps it landscaped and clean and looking nice, and, that is a positive, at least it doesn't look decrepit and vacant and whatnot, but I wish there was something in there, yeah.
As opposed to the building we're in.
I wasn't gonna say it. You said it.
Yeah. They're gonna be forced to spend money to do something, or it'll fall down. Okay, member comments. Victoria, any comments?
I just wanted Diane to know I agreed with almost everything you said. And welcome our new member.
Thank you. My only comment would be thank you for, finding me a name tag. No. For welcoming me to the group. I've got a lot to learn, and I'll try to be a sponge.
It'll be fun.
We'll get you a town center plan for next meeting too.
10A,
I haven't been.
nothing. Zach?
I don't have anything.
Okay, I don't have anything. Carol?
Good conversation, it was good.
Nothing except, I just wanna thank Marley again and whoever else is filling up the downtown, because now it's like, that even makes that area look more attractive. It's like, oh, we're all good. People are coming up with, really cool businesses and coming on down here, and then there's no room for you here, so, so get your opportunity zone down there.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Shirley, any comments?
Thank you all for all you do. I'm still new at this, so I'm learning as I go. I thank you all for helping me out here, especially you, Marley, and everyone. So thank you again.
And Will?
No other comments. Thanks, everyone. Great work tonight. See you next time.
All righty.
Oh,
Yes,
Cindy has her.
Yes.
I was just curious, after our meeting with Wood, were they interested still? What was your impression?
Yeah, they were, but I think that they've made some business changes that would potentially change their interest. I don't know how much of,
Right.
I don't really know a lot of details, but I don't know that they're doing any new developments in West Coast markets anymore.
Okay.
Oh.
That would have been cool.
Would,
What?
Sandy has her hand raised.
Who was it?
Sandy.
Oh. Cindy?
Sandy.
Oh, Sandy, yes, Sandy.
Just saying hi.
I'm sorry.
Yep, I just wanted to do a quick plug that we're about 10 days out from the deadline to file for city council. There are openings, so I hope that everyone, I hear a lot of opinions tonight, and it would be great if you were also on council, so that's my plug for tonight.
But we can't be on this committee if we're on council.
Yeah.
You can come visit it and listen.
Yeah.
All righty, well, thank you very much. Do we have a motion to close our meeting?
Do we need public comment at all?
Pardon?
We
We
did that.
We already did that.
Motion to close.
Okay,
I'll second that. Victoria will second
okay. All in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You can stay here by yourself. All right.
Bye, Sandy.
Remember?
Oh, what did you say?
10 days.
Yeah.